Just a short little intro here. I just want to say thanks to everyone who watched the last video, who liked it, who commented it. I really appreciate it. I haven't done stuff like this much, so it was really nice to see that people like the video. On my channel, I plan on doing a lot more Flipper projects as well as a lot more hardware hacking projects in general. So showing how to use a Proxmark, projects with Proxmarks, using different SDRs. I have a HackRF that I love to use. And there's a ton of projects I could do write-ups on here, or I guess video blogs of. So if anyone has any suggestions for things that they'd like to see, feel free to let me know in the comments. This video suggestion also came from a viewer who commented. They wanted to see how to use qFlipper. So this is the video I'm making. So anything that you want to see, just let me know. A few people commented and messaged me asking to do a video going over qFlipper and how you do firmware updates on your Flipper, since that's one of the first things you need to do out of the box. So I thought I'd do that. So the very first thing you want to do is go to flipper0.1/update. And this holds both the download page for the utility itself, qFlipper, as well as firmware files, should you need those. But it will automatically pull the latest ones, as you'll see. So I'm doing this on Mac. The process on Linux will be very similar. It'll download an app image file that you just need to add execution permissions on. You can do that either using the permission properties selection in your desktop environment, or you can run this command on the screen here. It's just adding the ability for the local user to execute. On Mac, it's fairly simple. Windows, you have to use a utility called Zodeg to get the best results. That should be fixed soon, I'd imagine. I don't have a Windows machine here with me, so I can't demonstrate that directly right now. If people want me to go over that, I can in a few days when I'm back to my Windows machine. So, just download here. On Mac, it'll download a disk image, as you'd expect. I can drag that over. Now, if I pull up qFlipper here, you're going to want to hit open, and if this is your first time opening it on this machine, you might have to open your applications folder, right click on it, and hit open, just to bypass the signing check, since it's untrusted. So a little note about my Flipper itself here. I went ahead and downgraded it to the version of firmware that shipped with the Flipper when I got it. I believe that's correct. But this should let me show you the full update process. So, the very first thing you want to do, I've got it open here and it's connected. But first, you're going to want to grab an SD card, a micro SD card. And the most important thing is that it supports the SPI slow mode, SPI, which is a feature of mainly older SD cards, but brand names have brought it, through to now. The same cannot be guaranteed for no-name cards. I tried 2 no-name cards to begin with, and neither of those worked. It was super glitchy. But I've got a Samsung 64 gig card here, so I'm just going to insert that in the bottom. Capacity isn't that important. A few gigs will be fine. This is just what I had lying around. I'm going to start by going to Settings, Storage, Format SD card. And the reason why you're putting that SD card in now is when we update, it's going to download a ton of files to that SD card that allow you to use a ton of utilities on the Flipper, including the infrared. I believe some of the radio stuff might need it. Either way, just very, very important to have on there. The bad USB scripts. And most of those can only run saved stuff from the SD card, so it's essentially needed. So now that's formatted, everything went fine there. And on the system here, I'm going to go ahead and relaunch qFlipper now that I've got that SD card in there. So now you can see SD card 99% free, database is missing, and it is out of date. It says release 0.50 is the newest version, and I can update. One little thing to show, here you can change the update channel, so development, release candidate, that kind of thing, check for app updates. The utility will also let you backup and restore. So I can go ahead and hit update here. And this will automatically download the latest firmware file. It'll back up the internal storage, put it in DFU mode, and begin downloading the firmware. So while this is downloading, I'll say if you have any ideas for videos you'd like to see about flippers or about any other hardware hacking thing, using Proxmarks, any of that, just let me know in the comments. I'm very open to any idea. I've got a decent amount of knowledge in that area, and I love to share it. Learning about these things is always fun, and it can be incredibly useful. So it's almost done here. You'll see the flipper begins to restart. Updating. Deleting unneeded files. And I will also be showing in this video the companion app, how to use that, what it looks like, what it features. And then I'll also show there's an experimental build of the qFlipper utility with a file manager built in, allowing files to be more easily transferred to your SD card. So I'll also show that at the end of this. This process is fairly boring, but it doesn't take too long. So you can see there it actually restored backup, it said for a moment there. So if you if you update, it'll automatically restore any settings you had on there before. It will not factory reset. And so, if I go in here, go to settings, .50. It's just that easy. So the next feature I'd like to show very quickly is the remote control and screen sharing mode of qFlipper. So if you'll notice here, all I did was just go over the little mini flipper here, and that is actually already a live screen share. So if I go ahead and click on that, it'll bring it full screen. And so I can go ahead and use the flipper buttons like normal, but I can also go through here and pick any of my normal options. So I can go down my saved remotes and actually fully run them as if I was right by my flipper. So this is incredibly useful for doing remote control. So if you're away from a site, right, we have this connected to a Raspberry Pi, you could use VNC to pull this control anywhere you are. There's a ton of uses for this, as well as just being useful for making videos like this. So you can go in, save a screenshot, give it a name, and it'll just pull the current screen status. If you click there, it shows there's actually key combinations for all these two, or key bindings. So you can use arrow keys, enter. And I accidentally kicked it out there. That's kind of funny. Because of UTF changing the USB mode, obviously it can't talk during that. But if I go into infrared here, it works the same way, but a little quicker. Okay, so now here's a demonstration. There's a special version of qFlipper that's been built recently that includes a file manager. So the link's up here. I'll also put it in the description for easy clickability. But this adds in an entirely new file manager that allows you to transfer files to the SD card and the internal storage while it's still inside of your flipper. So if you already have qFlipper installed, it'll say already exists. You just replace. Inside here, it has downloads for Windows, Linux, and Mac. So now I can go ahead and go in here, run qFlipper. It'll give the same open prompt once again. If you've never run qFlipper but you download this version first, you'll have to go to your applications and open it there. It'll think that it's not the newest version because, it's a fork. But now you can see it's connected, and there's a third little tab here. So if I click that, there's a file manager. So I can go an SD card here. I can grab, bad USB. Okay, sorry about that cut there. So I'm inside the bad USB folder, and you can right-click on any of these files, hit download. And interestingly, I've been getting an error pretty often, especially on the Mac version, where it'll tell me in the logs, failed open file for reading is a directory. Which is quite weird. It doesn't give me an option to save to a hard file. If I go back here and try that with directory, that does work. So if you can't individually grab a file, that is a good way around that. So you can see there's those three now. And one thing that you can do that does work just fine is inside of any of these directories, if I made a modified version here, pop that in there, you can see it comes up perfectly. And now that is just on the flipper. So now if I go inside of here and I pop into bad USB mode, you can see test macOS 1, and it actually switched keyboard mode on here as it does. Now then back out and we'll reconnect. So as you can see, this is an incredibly useful feature. I can say from experience it's quite tedious to have to pop out the SD card, pop it in a reader, transfer a file, pop it back, especially if you're trying to iterate on a bad USB script or something. It's incredibly annoying to have to deal with. So I would highly recommend checking out this fork. I'm assuming they'll fix some of the bugs in here over the next few days. As you can see, the newest version was last night from when I'm recording this. So something good to know about. It's good to have. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so one minor last note here. I originally planned on also going through the Android Companion app during this video. However, after some fiddling, I was able to get it to work a few days ago. But this last time, it didn't work on my main phone or my spare Android phone. It just won't connect and sync properly, which is what I'm seeing a lot of people having issues with on the Discord forum. So at the current moment in time, it is just not suitable to do an overview of it. While I was able to get it to work, the screen sharing was nearly identical to the qFlipper app. There was a basic file manager that was very buggy, that didn't seem to work quite right. Hopefully they'll fix that, because that would be very useful for loading stuff like bad USB scripts on the go. It also let you remotely edit and view saved stuff, so you could see like the UIDs of NFC cards that you had scanned with your Flipper previously. However, it does not yet let you actually action any of those, from what I was able to tell. So you couldn't, like run an infrared command, which that's what I'd really want to see in the Android app. So hopefully they'll update it, and when they do, I will do a video on that as well. So thank you everyone for watching, and if you have any recommendations, once again, just let me know in the comments, and I'll go ahead and do those. Right. Thank you.